realities are there at the same time, but and you say like all worlds are there, but if they are not observed, are they like as real as what we experience
They are because they're observed by someone else, not you. Maybe other versions of you are observing them and experiencing those parallel realities where you are only experiencing what you chose to observe with your frequency.
So there are literally like billions of
An infinite
parallel
number, yes.
realities that are collapsing like this one.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Yes,
okay.
moment to moment. You are shifting through billions of parallel realities every second to create the illusion of time and space and change. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, each parallel reality would just be a frozen snapshot with no experience and no movement in it. You have to shift your consciousness through those in the same way a projector light shifts through different frames on a film strip to create the illusion of movement and change in a movie.
But then what is the meaning if it's already all happened?
The meaning is what you put into it in terms of the new experience you have because you're looking at it from a new perspective. The structure of existence never changes. Your perspective of it does. And when you change your perspective of it, there's new meaning in the relationship that you have to the structure that doesn't change.
But it's already been perceived, all of it.
But not by you. Do you understand? Not by you on this level. It's being perceived, all of it. All of it is being perceived by all that is, all at once, but all that is doesn't need to change. It can't. It is what it is. The only way it can experience the idea of changing is by creating what appear to be fragments of itself that don't experience all of it all at once, and those fragments are called you, and me, and you. So that all that is gets to experience the idea of itself from a perspective where it doesn't experience all of itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, but when it's already happened, because there is no time and space, this already happened.
It exists right now. It's not that it happened. That's a temporal statement. It just exists. Time is one of its creations. So it can play with time, you can play with time, and make it flexible and malleable in many different kinds of ways. But the way you're playing with it right now, here, in this experience, is that you're creating the side effect called time and space and change in order to pretend that it doesn't exist all at once so that you can rediscover it from a new perspective, and that's how you grow in your relationship to all that is.
Okay. And how does that relate to like evolution, if all realities are
Again, it's
possible?
the same idea. Evolution is just the path you're choosing through the parallel realities that exhibit a particular kind of change that you call an evolutionary one, because you are creating a sense of continuity in that path that makes it look like you're going from this to this along a particular process line. You could really skip all over the place if you wanted to, but you don't, because you're playing the physical reality continuity game, and you want to experience the idea of evolutionary process, because that's one of the ways you will discover new perspectives of who and what you are. That's just the name of the game here.
Okay.
Not everyone experiences it that way in every reality.
Okay. And like some people like say that, you know, like how I perceive it now, there is pain, there is war, there is this,
Yes.
that there is like another reality where people don't like perceive. Okay, I can understand that you can shift your vibration and your frequency, and
Yes.
so your perception to
Yes.
why there is pain, but is there really also a parallel reality where the war doesn't like
Of
exist?
course. If you can imagine it, somewhere it's real, because you can't imagine non-existence. So there are an infinite number of versions of Earth, just to keep it earthbound in this conversation, and there are an infinite number of experiences on those different Earths. There are Earths that are absolute paradise. There are Earths that are absolute hell. There are Earths that have already destroyed themselves utterly. The idea is that you're shifting yourself through a number of those parallel versions of Earth that are representative of the path that you are choosing to take. You never change the world you're on. You just shift yourself to another version of Earth that is now closer in reflection to the change in vibration you've made within yourself. So you're going through all those parallel versions, and if you are of a certain state that is representative of the idea of your world being a peaceful one, then you are heading through a variety of versions of Earth to the ones that are only expressing the reflection of peace. If you stay on that track, if you stay in that state of being, that's where you'll wind up. But you're not changing the planet you were on. You're leaving that version and shifting to another one that's already existing, that's more reflective of the change in your vibration. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yes. And then eventually, like, will everything go back to like perfection of God, or?
That's one way to look at it, but again, remember, everything already exists. So you may experience it that way as going back to the perfection of all that is, but that's still not the end, because there is no end. There is still other things you can imagine from that state of being that can still be explored from other perspectives of all that is, that you can't imagine here because you're not seeing from that level yet.
Mm-hmm. But that is evolution, because you can see onto us like
yes.
in a lower state.
It's a type of evolution, yes.
Okay.
It's one way that evolution can express itself. Yes. Does that help?
Yeah. I have to re-listen, but yes.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Okay. I have one more small little question.
Small, little, tiny question. All right.
Maybe a big answer, but when something doesn't, can it be that something is fearful to you, and so you don't, and you want it, but you don't feel the excitement because the fear is too big?
Yes, well, what about it?
Yeah, I just wondered.
Many times people can dampen their excitement with fear-based beliefs and not recognize their excitement, yes. And also the reverse can happen. Something may actually not truly be representative of your excitement, but someone can believe that it is when in fact it's not, because they may be in denial about what actually would be more exciting and they're afraid to do it. So they will pretend that something else is actually their excitement when it really has nothing at all to do with their excitement. So it can go in both directions.
Okay, great.
Does that help?
That helps. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day. Making sure you're all awake.
I have two questions.
Yes.
The first one is breakaway civilizations, secret space program.
Yes. We're not going to go too much into what you call your conspiracy theories. There is some truth to some of them, but we're not going to sit here and validate all the negativity, because it's only going to lock people into that vibration, which is not what we're here to do. Those things will not affect you in a negative way if you don't choose to be affected by them negatively. Does that make sense?
Yes, I do perceive it as negative.
Well, again, the idea is that you can recognize that there may be people on your planet that have negative fear-based agendas, but again, it doesn't have to affect you if you remain in a positive state. You will shift to a reality eventually where that's no longer the case, where it never was the case.
Right, right.
So yes, there are people who have a belief in lack and have a belief in control and believe they're out of control and believe they have to manipulate reality and force other people to do this and be clandestine and all of that. But all of these things are just an expression of them believing in their lack of control. They have one real and only one real tactic. And that is manipulating information to the degree where they allow others to believe they're more powerful than they are. So if people buy into the idea that they have more influence than they do, that they're more powerful than they actually are, then suddenly they're perceived and experienced to be more powerful than they are. But that's what they actually do. They manipulate information to make themselves seem more in control and more powerful than they actually are. But they're not really in control of anything at all. In fact, they're panicked that they're not in control, which is why they cover a lot of stuff up.
Right. The reason why I asked is
Yes.
there are some people who claim to have been to the Moon and Mars who were part of that.
Well, I understand, and while there is a small amount of truth in a different direction in some of that, the biggest picture that has been painted of that is not actually accurate.
Right, I appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah. The other question is, I've had arthritis since I was in my teens.
How exciting.
Oh, it was really exciting, I can assure you. And I've tried quite a few
All right,
things.
now stop.
Right.
Understand, all of you, we do not really do health readings anymore. It's not our job anymore. We've delivered all the health information that it's our job to deliver. And we always remind you that even though you may get help to continue this from some other source, the first step in any disease is the idea of detoxification, because 80 to 90% of all disease symptomologies on your planet actually come from the fact that you're highly toxic. When you detoxify yourself, then whatever symptomology is left is actually what you're dealing with. And you may take a different course from there. But the first step we always encourage is to thoroughly detoxify yourself and see if anything is left for you to deal with first. That's the easiest, most simple step that can actually alleviate most of any difficulty. But that's really all the health information we can deliver at this time. You will be assisted from other sources.
Right, I was really also thinking of how to shift my paradigm.
Are you acting on your highest excitement every possible moment that you can with absolutely zero insistence on a particular outcome? Yes or no? Hesitation means
yes.
no.
I was going to say most of the time.
That means no.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you're doing it most of the time. Obviously, there are times when you're not, and those are the things you need to focus on. The times where you're doing it, that's fine. But remember, we gave you an analogy some time ago that in your past, technologically speaking, when you first created things like motor car engines, they were very basic, they were very simplistic. They could be dirty, they could be filthy, they could be covered with mud, and they would still chug along, and chug along. But now in your high technology age, you have machines with very, very precise tolerances, and the smallest speck of dirt that doesn't belong there can freeze the entire engine. It has to be really clean the more accelerated you are. So even though you may be acting on your excitement most of the time, if there is even a time when you're not in an important area of your life, that's going to stop the entire operation until you do. Then the machine will start again. So it's fine that there may be many areas where you're following your excitement. That's wonderful. Bravo. But look at the areas where you're not, because that's where you need to be focused if you want the entire machine to operate holistically. Yes?
Yes, I
Does
see
this
that.
help you?
Yes, it does.
Remember that the idea of arthritis symbolizes inflexibility and stiffness. You need to be more flexible, be less stiff. You need to really examine all of those fine little grains and let go and blow them out and let go of the things that are truly no longer relevant for you. You will all at some point perhaps cross a threshold. Again, remember, it doesn't mean that you will be divesting yourself of negative beliefs for the rest of your life. You might, but you don't have to. The process of divesting yourself of things doesn't always have to remain in the realm of negative beliefs. At a certain point, when you've let go of every negative belief, you will still continue to divest yourself of things that are simply no longer relevant for your life, for who you are. They don't have to be negative, they just simply might not be relevant anymore. So this cleaning out process will continue for the lifetime, even if you've already divested yourself of all the negative beliefs. Yes, because you're constantly refining in yourself. Make sense?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Philadelphia.
Can you suggest how I could find him?
Start your search in Philadelphia.
Okay.
That's all we can give you at this time. You'll be helped along the way with other information from other guides. But we can give you the beginning.
Okay.
Philadelphia.
Thank you, thank you.
Your imagination and your search will synchronistically provide you with clues along the way. This is a process, and you will need to go through the process, but we can start the ball rolling.
Thank you.
And there are clues in everything we just told you. You will have to suss them out.
Okay, I love to do research.
No, well, there you go.
How about my parents?
What about them? They're fine.
They are?
Yes, of course. They're in spirit. How could they not be?
Okay.
Yes.
As I was driving down here from Northern California, I stopped at a gas station. I stop at a lot when I leave here. And I got a phone call that my 95-year-old uncle had passed away
All right.
in New Jersey. So
Yes.
I'll be going there this week. But he's
All right.
like my last known connection
All right.
to my
Well,
mother's side.
in your travels to your New Jersey, maybe either before or after on the way back, you might want to stop in Philadelphia and see what happens.
Okay, thank you.
See who you might run into. Drive carefully.
Okay. And I'd just like to ask a question about Egyptian philosophy.
Yes.
Because everyone talks about Plato and Socrates,
Yes.
but they studied in Egypt. And I
Yes,
just
many of
wonder
them.
why.
Because the ancient priests of Egypt knew the secrets of Atlantis. And they passed them along. And it involved all sorts of different understandings of consciousness. Many of the concepts that we're talking to you about today were understood by the priesthood in ancient Egypt.
So why doesn't anybody talk about them, especially in connection to
Because most historians don't know that.
Plato? Okay. So,
There have been chapters and gaps in your history that have been lost.
so education is the key.
Yes, research is the key in a variety of ways, including altered states that allow you to download information to fill in the gaps. But also, when open contact finally does occur, many beings will bring you the missing gaps in your history. They will fill in your history for you, because many have been observing for thousands upon thousands of years, and they can tell you exactly what was going on your planet. So that will be one of the things that will bond you to the idea of an exchange with extraterrestrial beings in open contact, is they will provide you a sense of linear history, so you can really understand what you're really all about in terms of your journey and your path on Earth, and where you can go from there. It will be one of the gifts you will be given.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
And I am so excited, and I want to
Speak
say...
up, speak up.
Okay. Thank you so much for all the teachings. They have made an incredible difference.
Well, you have made the difference, but we thank you for allowing us to share what we know.
And
Speak up.
things are moving very quickly
Yes,
as far
they
as
are.
transforming for me as well.
Yes.
I've recently decided that I would no longer play with fear and limitations and
thank you.
holding myself back. And so things are becoming very magical.
They often do when you let
And-
go of fear.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yes.
So, when I was younger, I put some blocks and stops up because very connected, very intuitive, hearing voices, And my dad was a psychiatrist, and so I kind of had this thing of, oh my God, I can't be crazy.
My daughter's insane.
No, actually, my dad was kind of cool because he was like he had a lot of cool aspects to him.
Oh, all right.
And when I would tell him about the times that it happened, he said, "Oh, I bet you it's just like your guardian angel." And
All right.
so it kind of gave me permission, but it happened a couple of times where I finally said, "No,
Yes, well, that's all right.
go away."
Yes.
And now I'm ready.
Yes,
but,
all right.
can you give me any information about the voice? It was very,
Well, your guides.
yeah.
Yes, your guides, your spirit guides. So, if you're ready to reestablish a more
Absolutely.
conscious relationship, you can.
Absolutely.
All right. And in what way will you utilize that experience in your life?
My dream is to make a difference in, like the gentleman said,
Yes.
transferring light to dark.
And how will you go about doing that as an example in life?
Well, part of what I've learned from you is being that and showing the
Yes.
side of that.
And how do you do that? How will you choose to do that? What will be the actual active outward expression of that? Just standing in one spot?
No, sir.
Thank you. So what will be your chosen outward expression right now? What is the most exciting thing you can actually be taking action on to express that and be an example that others can see?
Well, one small way I do it is I have an ex-husband who is my best teacher, and I have 2 boys, and so my phrase is gentle and kind, and I try and actually I
your
do
pardon.
damn well. I do
Thank
damn
you.
well at being gentle and kind when a
Yes.
lot of yuck comes my way,
All
and so
right.
that is me being
All right.
that. The other way,
In regards to your family,
absolutely
and
that.
what about society?
I've worked
How do
with
you demonstrate it there?
actually not so much
Thank
these days.
you.
Okay.
Why not? You want to be an example. If there's no one around to see it, what difference does it make?
I know.
Yes.
I love writing. I love
And?
drawing. I
All
love.
right. Are you doing these things and putting them out there?
I do not put them out
Why
there.
not? Why not? Why not?
You exactly. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yes, why not? Can you answer that? Why not?
Still playing with a little bit of the
Oh, come on, be
What-
honest. Be honest. What are you
what pe-
afraid of?
what people.
What
will,
are you afraid of?
What people will think.
Who cares?
Exactly. But
Why do you care? Why do you care? Why? You don't value yourself enough? You believe them when they attempt to reflect devaluation to you? Why do you believe them? Why do you think it has anything at all to do with you? Why do you think it's true that you're not worthy?
I feel really worthy inside.
But you're not acting like it outside.
Right.
Then you don't really believe it inside, because the things you know to be true, you just do. They're synonymous with your behavior. If it's not in your behavior, you don't understand it, and you don't know
Hey,
it.
I behave. You know, I'm working on it because I behave.
I know you're working on it.
But yeah, no buts. I know.
Thank you.
Yeah,
if
I
we
heard you.
asked you to simply walk across the room, you wouldn't sit there and go, well, I'm working on it. You would just do it because you know you can. That means you know it to be true because it's exhibited in your external behavior. If
Things
it's not
will-
exhibited in your external behavior, this writing and drawing and so on and so forth, outwardly where everyone can see it because you're afraid of what they will think and you're afraid that they will judge you, then it's not something you yet actually know to be true for you.
Well, how about switching it to? I actually am afraid of how fast things move like magic.
So you don't believe that you will automatically regulate yourself?
It feels, amazingly magical. Like
Yes. Is that overwhelming to you?
sometimes.
All right. But again, that means you don't trust the rate at which your life unfolds.
Okay.
You can handle everything that happens. If you couldn't handle it, it wouldn't happen.
Yes.
Do you understand that principle?
Yeah, say it again so it just seeps in. Please.
You cannot actually receive more than you're ready to handle. It's not possible. But you can believe you're not ready to handle it.
Right. Well, I'm done with that.
All right. Then
Yeah.
that comes your way, you have to know that the only way that could happen is that you can handle it. It has to be equal to the vibration you're giving off. It can't be more than the vibration you're giving off. It can't be less. It has to be equal to it.
Right. So I am ready for all this.
You see, when you create the idea that you can't handle something, you're actually putting out that vibration. Therefore, that's actually what you're getting.
Yeah.
You're getting an experience of not being able to handle it, but it's exactly equal to the vibration you're giving out. So if you just rearrange that equation and say, well, of course I can handle it because I'm getting what I am putting out right now as an absolute equal reflection. So if I just change what I'm putting out, then it doesn't change the amount that comes back to me. It just changes the way I experience it because now I understand that it's equal. Whereas before I had a definition that said it wasn't. But it was. It was absolutely equal to the definition you were putting out. It always is. It can't be anything else. So if you know it's equal, you can act like it's equal and you will know that whatever it is, it's something you can handle. Because it can only be equal. Does this make sense physically? This is just physics.
Yes, it does.
All right. When you throw a ball against the wall and it comes back, the ball comes back. When you throw a ball against the wall, 2 balls don't come back. 3 balls don't come back. The ball you threw comes back. Equal and opposite reaction. Equal and opposite reaction. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So whatever ball you throw, that's what will come back. Not 15 balls.
All right.
No matter how it looks. If you've made it look like 15 balls, that's just the definition that you're throwing out. But what came back was equal to what you threw out. To show you how to regulate yourself to what you know is comfortable for you in terms of the way you define what will come back by changing the definition of what you put out. Mm-hmm. Make sense? Is this sinking in a little bit?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Will that help?
Yes.
All right. Then go and throw some balls and see what comes back.
Will do. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.